Sego skana ne wat kunu herdado se wo kweko. Deo just guate ne wak san oe dano Dakota Brant ne wak san oda. Kanya ke haga ni I ne wak enyato gitardoda ne oni oswega ni de vagino ne oni wado girdo goigo gatsunu ni I dano se wo goigo ka I de wasnoa. Just want to say my greetings and my thanks that you are all here this evening with myself and my family to recognize us as Trent alumni. I was actually really surprised. I didn't just to know that I was a recipient of this award this year. Like, of all the people the last 10 years, like, why me? I don't know. It's been a really it's been a whirlwind this last year because literally since I graduated April of last year, and as soon as I came out of the exam room of my last exam, I went off to Albuquerque, New Mexico to compete for the Miss Indian World competition. It's an ambassadorship for American Indian and First Nations young women, and I was fortunate enough to win this. It was something that I had been looking forward to my entire life. I really aspired to it, and I realized even more so when I won that title of Miss Indian World. It was something that I aspired to, but it's also something that tens of thousands of American women, of American Indian and First Nations young women aspire to. And so when I won that, and not only that, some scholarships that I had built up, and all these things that I had been wanting to accomplish in my own life, I began to realize that those are also, I became responsible with it. I became responsible with the hopes and dreams of many people, of my peers. I became responsible with those things, and I needed to become accountable as a young person in this position to know that I was being deserving of the aspirations of all of those people. And so that's what I been dealing with over the last year. I've traveled extensively across North America, representing my own self, my own family, my community, my nation, my territory, but also all of American Indian people as a race. And so I've been carrying that with me, and then realizing that I had achieved something. I worked towards it, and I achieved it through my own hard work, but also I had to become accountable with the dreams of those other people. And so what I then did was I took the opportunity to pass that dream along to the next generation. Over the past year, I was teaching Haudenosaunee style dancing back at home to Haudenosaunee youth ages 5 to 10. And so over the past year, I've been able to work with them and teach them what it is that I know about my culture as a Haudenosaunee person. But then something really something happened suddenly, where just one of those things that happen sometimes that really stop your heart. In November of last year, one of our youth committed suicide. And it's just one of those things that that you stop and think, and you wonder, what's the point of anything? What's the point of life? How come I'm somebody who worked so hard for something, I couldn't give that to somebody else. I couldn't, for there was nothing I could do for this young girl who was and she was a role model in her own right. I looked to her. Her name was Jewel. And in my own way, when I was growing up, she was like a little sister to a close friend of mine, and she was somebody that she lit up the room whenever she entered it. She was one of those people. She had that gift, and then suddenly her own light was gone, and I couldn't help but feel what was the point. But then I had to realize that no matter what we do, we have to support and care for our children at all costs. And I had to hang on to that one piece of knowledge. And so in keeping that knowledge inside me, these 30 Haudenosaunee youth, with the support and the hard work of their parents and people in our community, I took them with me to Albuquerque, New Mexico at the end of last month to do a cultural exchange with Pueblo people down in New Mexico in the Southwest. And these are some youth that they never left the reserve before. They don't know anything but being Mohawk. They don't know anything about anything else but being Haudenosaunee. That's just who they are, and that's all they are. And they come from, a lot of them came from poor families. I grew up on a reserve. I grew up with children that were so poor they came to school every day without a lunch. That was my situation. And I was fortunate. For whatever reason, Creator made me one of the lucky ones. I came from a family where my mother was educated. But that was not the case for a lot of other people, I came from a family where education was important. And I also grew up with people where they were the first ones being educated, the first ones who went to high school in their families. You know, we're in a situation as First Nations people where we're talking about, you know, it's a goal for us to graduate high school. Like, forget post-secondary. We're trying to work towards making sure that they go to grade 9, that they graduate and they finish grade 12. You know, that's what's empowering for us right now. I come from a status of people in this country where our suicide rates are 11 times higher than the national average. That's the background I come from, and then to know that suddenly I'm put in this position where I'm responsible with the hopes and the dreams of that population of people. You know, the onus is put on me. You know, and I had to. You know, I'm still dealing with that. You know, I'm just a young person. You know, and sometimes I feel like people forget that, and so I guess I just have to keep reminding people of that, but also just to show that we do. It is okay to have a little bit of faith in that next generation. It is okay to love them and care and support for them. Again, like I said before, at all costs, because they are looking for that, and they are looking to be shown that they matter in this world. First Nations youth, Inuit, Métis, American Indian, we need to tell them that they matter at all costs and that we trust them with their future and with the future of our people. So when I'm up here today, you know, being given this Young Leader Award, I'm not accepting it on my behalf. I'm accepting it on behalf of my race of people and the people of my age. And I'm still thinking every day in the back of my mind, those children while I was Miss Indian World, those children who looked up at me and they saw their dreams become a reality when I was in front of them. Because once again, those tens of thousands of American Indian and First Nations women that I used to be among them, and now I became the epitome of what their dreams were. I became responsible for them, and just knowing that Trent University is out there saying that you guys as a population, you do matter. You matter to our university, if nothing else. You know, and to know that I was a graduate of the Indigenous Environmental Studies program, nothing else like that exists on the planet. Trent University is the first university in Western academia to say, you know what, Indigenous philosophy and way of life matters in this world, in the direction that our world wants to go. In the direction that our world needs to go, and understanding that those ways of life that we had in the past were not useless. You know, they perpetuated our existence for the last 10,000 generations of people on this planet. So yeah, they are worth considering when it comes to how it is we want to exist for the next 10,000 generations on this world. That's up to us. You know, the Creator gave us the choice to continue to exist, to perpetuate our existence as a race. You know, no other race in the world does the same things that we do. They don't work to destroy. You know, they just work to live. You know, the Creator gave everything the role of perpetuating life, but He gave humans the job and the gift of being able to choose for themselves to perpetuate life or to destroy it. You know, we have that choice. That's what makes us human. And being here at Trent University is that was the first time where I acknowledged that, and I realized that this is a university that does care about my understanding as an Ojibwe, as a Native woman, and the philosophy and the background that I come from. That our philosophy does matter, and it does matter to this world, and it starts with Western academia acknowledging it, because this is where our great minds come from. It starts in little places like this, in those little classrooms down the road from here. You know, I know most people in this room are inside one of them. They're pretty small. And they get smaller as the year goes on. So again, I don't want to take up all your time. I just want to say Nyawago again for all your love and support, and to know that Trent is still interested in its students. You know, I graduated, but they still want to know what I'm doing, and that's really cool. You know, to know that I come from it's not just a university, it's a family, and it's a family that I'm proud to say that I'm a part of. So go.